I'm good to go.
Awesome. Okay. That's not much to do. Is it rolling?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Krista Jestlin. I'm the editor of the Ypsilanti and Manchester papers for Heritage Media. And before I start, I want you to know that I'm by no means a professional. I just have a journalism degree and use Facebook and Twitter all the time for work and at home. So by all means, the things that I say, feel free to question them, feel free to come up with your own solutions when you're working with Facebook and Twitter yourself as well. So just know that I am in no way the hard line on this. Okay, so just a general overview of what we'll go over. Why use social media for journalists and businesses, some general rules, and then I'll break it down between using Facebook and using Twitter, and then privacy, which is a big issue for a lot of people, and then I'll take questions. So, and then at any point in this, if you have any questions, concerns, problems, just raise your hand online, type them in, and I will get to them. So let's go. I think the first thing that people need to remember about using social media as a journalist and as a business owner, and even really as an individual, is that social media is social. It can be a marketing tool, but it really doesn't have to be. And when you start to think about it more as a marketing tool than as a way to connect with people, I think that's where you start to lose your disconnect. You start to lose your readership, your customers, and people generally get disinterested. So the prefix com or con means together or with. Social media helps you communicate your stories, products, events, helps you build community, readership, loyal customers, regulars, connect to what people want, either what they want out of their newspapers, what they want out of their media in general, what they want out of the businesses that they support. So I think, like I said a minute ago, I think it's really important to remember these con and com prefixes when we're using social media. It really is about building a community, not really as much about marketing, although it really can be a marketing tool. But I am by no means a marketing professional. So what can it do for my reporting? I know that we have a couple journalists in the audience. Those of you I don't know, are any of you reporters or bloggers or aspiring reporters or bloggers?
Aspiring blogger.
Okay.
Under duress. And business owner.
Okay, cool. So you've got both. What
I
about
studied journalism and I started, and I think I started my own blog a little bit earlier this year. So.
Okay, cool. So for reporting and bloggers, using Facebook and Twitter can help you find stories, connect with sources, and verify information. I don't know how many times I've used Facebook to look up the correct spelling of somebody's name, or double check on if somebody's last name that ends in Stein is E-I-N or I-E-N. Just little stuff like that can be really helpful. And I know myself, I've found a lot of stories online. Is there anybody who'd like to share any stories that they found online? Danny or Erica? I know Erica has a really good story. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I found a Facebook page about a pit bull. I think it was the Big Chelsea First Facebook page. Somebody had posted about this pit bull that turned out to be a therapy dog, and then turned out to be the only pit bull therapy dog in Southeast Michigan. And then turned out to be a pit bull that's the only one in Southeast Michigan. This therapy dog that is also been chosen to be a breed ambassador for a national PR. So I know it was a really cute story.
Yeah, super adorable.
Because nobody would have ever called me.
Yeah.
That the dog was going after a story.
Exactly. There's tons of little feel-good stories like that, and then news too. I don't know if you guys have had any news experiences. I'm trying to think of anything off the top of my head. Danny?
Well, on Facebook, we found out that one of the Ypsilanti Board of Education members wasn't going to be going again for the position in November, and then Rio Graham stepped in to do that. So we found that out on Facebook before we announced to the county, which prompted us to write a few stories about the Board of Education there. So it was pretty newsy, hard news stuff we got from Facebook.
Yeah. So you can find both hard and soft news through Facebook and Twitter. I suggest, I mean, I wouldn't spend, if you're a paid reporter, too much time on Facebook and Twitter looking for stories, but a good half an hour a day really doesn't hurt. It helps you keep up to what's going on in your community that you're covering in the very least. And at most, you find really good nuggets of news.
Find those pages to visit specifically.
Yeah.
So you're not wasting your time looking at.
Exactly. Find, what I've done on Twitter is, when I first started here, Erica is the Chelsea Dexter editor. I was covering a lot of Chelsea Dexter for her, so I went on her Twitter and looked at all the people she's following, and subsequently followed all of those people. And then went on various accounts like the Chelsea school board or school district and follow who they're following. And you kind of just take some time and do that, and you really start to build like the online community that you kind of want to be a part of. So, this is a really good example of me using Twitter, reaching out to people to try and get things confirmed, not confirmed. Back in March, there was a shooting just off of Eastern Michigan University's campus. I had a friend who was going to school there who texted me and said she'd heard that there was a shooting. I couldn't verify the same because it was Friday night, like 7:30 or something. There was no way to get a hold of anybody to talk about it in that instant. So on a whim, I just sent out a text saying, I'm hearing EMU is being locked down because of a reported shooting. Can anyone at eMitch or in IPSI confirm or deny this? And I got tons of replies back, but this was probably one of the better ones. Saying that it's more of an advisory and the shooting was actually just off campus, not actually on campus. So, I mean, little stuff like that can help your reporting a long way. Kind of cut down on your calls and get all your fingers out there. And then for your business, it's pretty cut and dry what you can do for your business. I mean, you can discover a lot of what people want to buy, find out general opinions on your business and products. And when especially if you're a small business, if you're looking to build your audience or your consumer base, knowing what people want and what they feel and what they think about you can be really helpful in the long run. If you go along and you own a candy store down the road and you have tons and tons of, I don't know, like gumballs. You find out that for some reason in Ypsilanti there's just a giant anti-gumball group, and like Ypsilanti has a deep-seated history. I mean, obviously I'm using an incredibly ridiculous example, but it has a deep-seated history of like hatred of gumballs. You can alter your product line, and then you can publicize your events for free. I mean, most people don't even really have to have a website anymore. You can just have a Facebook page. And then connect with journalists, too, who want to cover what you're doing, who want to help spread the news about what sort of community events you or your business could be involved in. If you're coming up with a new product that could really change, the way people in Ypsilanti or Michigan live or something like that. I mean, it really does help you reach out and kind of be your own PR person, too. If I'm going too fast, let me know. So some general rules before we get started. Do share news and updates, but don't overshare. Don't post like 7, 8, 9 times a day, unless it's like the coolest thing that's ever happened. With journalists, it's a little bit different because there's breaking news, and if you have a page for your newspaper, obviously those rules are a little bit different if you're consistently putting stories up throughout the day. But as a journalist with an individual page or a business, I would avoid posting probably more than 4 or 5 stories a day on average. I think probably as a business owner, 1 or 2 is probably good. But do post regularly. Try to get something every day or every other day. If you don't show that you're involved, people aren't going to be involved with you. But then again, don't overpost either. Do have conversations with people. People will comment on your stories or tweet you back. Respond to those. Really open yourself up to the dialogue because it really helps you really get ingrained into that community. And then do tag people, organizations, and businesses. into your posts. For example, when I'm posting things to my own personal Facebook, or say the Ypsilanti Courier's Facebook page, am I away? Sorry. I don't know if there's a, scoot this over, or maybe I can't.
It's all right. Pull it to the side, just look particularly.
Thank you. You might not be able to see there. Okay, it's fine, sorry. So, for example, when I'm posting things to the Ypsilanti Courier's Facebook page, if it's a cool feature story about a business, I'll tag that business's page. It helps, as a journalist, get your stories out there, get a little bit more traction on them, get more eyeballs on them. And it encourages that business to share your story too, therefore getting more eyeballs on your story in that way as well. But don't be those weird people that like upload pictures of shoes and tag 50 people in them. That just annoys everybody. Though I think most of those people are bots at this point. Okay, Facebook. It's still the most popular social media website. Last I knew, we still get most of our clicks from Facebook, right? Based on my own personal Bitly statuses, which I'll get to a little bit later, but it's a link shortener that you can track the clicks of your stories on. Based on that, I mean, I rarely get Twitter clicks. So Facebook is really important. Like I've said before, be conversational. When you post things, don't just say like, hey look, here's a story. Say what the story is about, engage people, be descriptive. As journalists, that shouldn't be very difficult for you. If you're not used to writing, it can be a little bit of a bump to get over, but just in the same way that you would say something to a friend that is sitting next to you, put it on Facebook. But then again, do use some caution with that. If they're like your crazy friend that you go to the bar with, maybe tone it down in what you put on there. But then also avoid vagueness, which might be better with my examples. A good post. The Ypsilanti Fire Department held a fundraiser for orphaned kittens this weekend. Did you go? That's a good post because it engages in conversation, it tells you what it's about, it's descriptive, it's engaging. A bad post would be like, do you like kittens? It's really vague. Everybody likes kittens. There it is. What? Oh man, this thing is just giving me the worst time today.
You wait for a minute.
Oh, there it goes. So yeah, bad post. Do you like kittens? It's vague. It doesn't really tell you what's happening. It doesn't really engage people. It's a yes or no question, and for the most part, I would avoid yes or no questions, even though, I mean, I suppose my good example is a yes or no question. Try to keep it open so you have an open dialogue and an open conversation. That's supposed to be a link. Know when to post. It's really important. And knowing when to post involves a little bit more than just kind of basic Facebook using. There is a, let's see if this will work on this guy, escape. Maybe I'll just do it with this. There's a, it's supposed to be a hyperlink. Okay, just a second. Sorry, I mentioned Bitly before. It's a link shortening tool online. It's just bitly.com. You can shorten your links there, but you can also track the clicks that you receive from posting stories there. And they, I think back in March or April, earlier this spring, they posted a blog post where they crunched through all the analytics of when and where their links were most popular. And between crunching all the numbers, they figured that the best time to post on Facebook is between 1 and 4 p.m. during the weekday, and the worst times are between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. So I guess people really like to be on Facebook when they're at work. So keep that in mind. Like, if you have a really interesting story and it's not breaking news, I would probably avoid posting it at 11 o'clock at night if that's when you got it done. I would try to hold it off to the next morning. And then just some extra notes. On Facebook, don't post more than one story per hour if you can help it. Because when you, the way Facebook is set up as a page, when you post a story, if you post another one in quick succession, that newest one will replace the old one on people's feeds, or news feeds, and the old one will just get lost in the shuffle. So this is particularly difficult if you have more than one person managing your Facebook pages. I know for us, we have like 8, 9 hands on every Facebook page, and sometimes it can get crazy. So it's really important that you just kind of try to pay attention to what time the last story was posted, and if it's really necessary to go up right now, or if it can wait a half an hour. A general rule with a half an hour to 45 minutes minimum between stories is a good rule of thumb. And then don't post stories more than once, unless it's a really big, breaking, interesting, really, really important story. Or it's just going to drown your audience. It's going to create a disconnect for people.
Kristen, when you said use the analytics, is that Bitly, the analytics?
Oh, thank you. Sorry. I just confused myself. Let me go back. Use the analytics, and this is what I was going to do. Oh. Did I screw it up? Automatically then? Oh no. Okay. I'll take you to our Facebook page and show you what the analytics looks like, if it will go.
Maybe make your social small.
It hates me, I'm telling
I
you.
think it's trying.
Please, I believe in you. On your Facebook page, not your personal one, but the one you've created for your business or your newspaper, your organization, whatever, there will be a section of analytics, which I think now with the switch to timeline, they've kind of moved to the top. You'll see a bunch of little like graphs and stuff, and I think most people just scroll past it to see the notifications. And if this doesn't work, I can show you guys on my computer afterwards to make it a little bit easier and more visual for you. And it'll show you like the demographics of the people who have looked at your stories. It'll show you how many people clicked, how many people viewed it, all that sort of stuff. And it really helps you get a grasp on what your community is looking at and when. And it can be very helpful. And like I said, I'll show you that after. Oh, maybe we'll have to be patient.
Maybe Control Delete and close Firefox. No.
This thing hates me. Oh, there it goes. It's okay. Okay, where were we? Okay, Twitter. Use hashtags, but use them wisely. And for those of you who don't know what a hashtag is, if you've ever looked at a Twitter post, there's a little pound sign before a word or a set of words, and a hashtag lets you search either by clicking on that hashtag or through the advanced search feature on Twitter for topics. So an example of a really good, well, not a really good, I made it up yesterday, so it's probably not really good, but a good hashtag use is hashtag Manchester, Michigan high school students are volunteering to help local elderly folks. Bad hashtag use. Manchester, Michigan high school students are high school hashtag students are volunteering to help hashtag local, hashtag elderly folks. You'll see a lot of this on Twitter, and what it does is you really have to think about what are people going to search for when you use a hashtag. People aren't going to search for students. That's incredibly vague. It's not going to help anybody do anything on Twitter. It's not going to do anything. Honestly, you only have, 160 characters on Twitter. It's taking up a character for you. So be really mindful in what you're hashtagging. With that said, as journalists, I've done this. This is kind of my own, thing or style that I've used for Twitter in Washtenaw County. Ypsilanti, Ypsi, and Ann Arbor, I can hashtag by themselves. But if you hashtag Chelsea or Manchester or Dexter, it's just nobody's going to know what you're talking about. So if you hashtag Manchester, Michigan, or MICH, or hashtag Chelsea, MICH, it narrows the field down a little bit. And at this point, when I click on it, it's still mostly just me, but I'm powering through thinking maybe people will catch on. So where would be some good hashtag placements?
Ypsilanti police would be pretty specific.
Hashtag EMU.
Yeah.
So you'd have to make Ypsilanti police all one word, right?
Yeah, if you hashtag it, it does have to be one word. Any spaces or like apostrophes or anything after the space or apostrophe gets thrown out.
EMU.
Yeah. I'll show you what I have. Ypsi police are searching for a suspect who has been lurking around women's dorms at EMU, eMich, Eastern Michigan University. All of those work. You can kind of play around with Eastern specifically. All of those work. You can kind of play around with how many characters you have, what the story's about, all that. That brings me to a really good point, though. How you had said Ypsi police. I don't know off the top of my head if the Ypsilanti Police Department has a Twitter account, but a lot of places do. So if they are there, tag them in it. You don't even have to put Ypsi Police and hashtag it. Just tag them in it, and they'll be more likely again to share it or to it'll reach more eyes.
And by tagging them, you can use the @ sign and their handle.
I was just going to ask what tag means. So
Exactly.
what is tag again?
It's using the @ symbol and then the person's Twitter handle. So mine would be @KJustin. That is a complicated one, actually, that example. And then it's really important that you shorten your links using bit.ly, tinyURL, Hootsuite, anything like this. There are tons of free link shortening websites out there. You have a really, really limited amount of space on Twitter. And you want to utilize your space as much as possible. For those of us who have been in copy editing or pagination ends of journalism, it's a lot like writing a headline. You really only have a finite amount of space, and you don't want to waste it with a silly long URL to a story. And also, it just looks kind of aesthetically unappealing.
Although Twitter does shorten it, right?
Not all the time.
Particularly, I doesn't always.
It doesn't always do it. Yeah. And then use lists, which, again, this is a link. Let's see if it works. It's working. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so the list function is, if you're looking at your home page, it's under, you go tweets, following, followers, favorites, lists. And the list function is obviously free. You can create lists based on your contacts, based on who you're involved with, and it helps you, if you're looking for a story or if you're looking for people to get a hold of, it helps you really narrow down your search time. So if you look here, at one point I was the general assignment reporter for all of Washtenaw County, so I have a list for every city in Washtenaw that we cover. And then I have a list for politicians, music, journalists, colleagues here, colleagues in our corporate company, Michigan News, National News, friends, and then a class list from 5 years ago. So it really helps you narrow down. So I'll click on the politicians one so you can see a little bit better. So say you're looking for, what I've used this list for, this specific list for in the past is a digital tool called Storify, where you collect tweets into a visual, tweets and Facebook, but mostly it's easiest on Twitter, I think, into a visual representation of people's reactions to different events. And Danny did one for something recently, didn't you? What was it?
Which?
The Storify.
I did Storify for, no, somebody did one on 9/11.
9/11, yeah, you did it on 9/11.
I did one for back to school, first day of
Yeah,
school.
that's what it was. So when you're using that feature, if you can just search in your lists, Storify is a separate website. It's not really affiliated with Twitter. But it makes it easier to find exactly who you're looking for. And I even could break this down into local politicians and national politicians, but it's only a list of 25, so it seems silly at this point to me. So is there any questions at this point? I'm not going too fast? Okay. So on Twitter, just like Facebook, be conversational. It's a little bit more difficult because you do only have 160 characters, but once you kind of start to get the hang of it, it gets easier. And then my personal rule is avoiding linking Facebook and Twitter together. It does make it easier if you just plunk something into Facebook and it automatically tweets it to Twitter. But what winds up happening is you don't use hashtags, you don't tag anybody into your posts, and you end up getting these weird links, like Facebook shortened links. So say you posted a photo. I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't. Say you posted a photo of something happening. Chelsea.
Words, right?
Yeah, a Chelsea high school. Yeah, it'll cut off your words in your tweets too if it gets to 160. A Chelsea high school graduate died in a car crash, I think, recently, and somebody painted the rock in Chelsea. Erica puts it on Facebook, but if it goes on to Twitter and she says, "Did you paint the rock?" On Facebook, that's completely conversational. It's engaging, but if it goes on to Twitter like that, people are like, "What rock? I don't understand." So it is easier that way if you have to do a lot of posting, but I would try to avoid it as much as possible. And then again, know when to post, and from Bitly's blog post again. The best time to tweet is between 1 and 3, and the best days to tweet are early in the week, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and avoid tweeting after 8 p.m. Any other day, or Monday through Thursday, and then after 3 p.m. on Fridays. Unfortunately, Twitter doesn't really have the same analytics feature that Facebook does, at least to my knowledge. I've never seen anything in Twitter with it. But you can use Bitly to kind of figure out where and when your things are going.
Another one I use for Twitter is called tweetreach.com, and you can actually type in any Twitter name in there, and it actually shows how many people that connects to. So it's saying what your potential viewership is if you put a tweet out based on what everyone else's viewers are and who subscribes to you and things like that, and that's really interesting. I've used that a few times.
Kind of see TweetReach?
Tweetreach.com, and then that tracks individual tweets as well to your 10 most recent tweets and how many clicks you had on those and how many people actually follow you. So, and it doesn't require a subscription either. You just type in what the at whatever it is. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
It's really basic, but it gives you a good idea of if you post it, like you said, 6 a.m., nobody saw it. Or if you post at 1, it'll show you that fluctuation with graphs and things like that. It's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think analytics do vary from person to person and your region and your community. Obviously, things that post well at 1 p.m. for us aren't going to post well at the exact same time in California or whatever. So it's not set in stone by any means. And privacy. Both Facebook and Twitter do have privacy settings. This is a huge bone of contention for people, but they do have privacy settings. You just kind of have to do some work to get to them. Twitter's a little bit easier. You just go into your settings and click lock tweets. People have to get your permission to see your tweets if they're not already following you. I don't think I have. No. And I can show you those in a second. I'll log on to my Facebook and show you my account settings and privacy settings and that sort of stuff. But use common sense too. Even with your privacy settings set up, don't post anything that you want your employer or a potential really great employee to see. Just really use common sense. And then if you're really worried about it, have separate accounts. Have a personal account and a professional account. That's a little bit more attuned to journalists, though I suppose that could be something you would do as a business owner, but it might get a little bit more muddy for you. Though I have known people where they have a personal account and they have a private account, and their friends try to add them on a professional account, and it gets weird. You just kind of have to have a distinct line if you do that. And then I will. Somebody just like screwed with everything.
Well, yeah, I got bumped off wireless, so you just have to go on and go.
Well, I'm on the what do you call this thing? VPN or whatever, the Verizon.
Oh.
Weird.
Maybe your computer automatically was going to the wireless.
It's possible. Well, it looks like this is working now anyway, so. Okay. So you can find your account settings in this drop box right by the home screen, or by the home icon on your home screen. You can go to privacy settings or account settings, but privacy is, if you're looking for privacy, what you'd need. And you can control your default, which means what you post like from your phone, what it would automatically do, because you don't have the same controls on your phone as you would from your PC. And then you can edit each setting, how you connect, timeline and tagging, and then blocked people and apps. I personally don't have a separate professional and personal Facebook page. What I do is I use the Friends feature, and you can create lists of people. If you go down onto your home screen, down the what's this called, left side, under Friends, they usually automatically plunk people into things by region. I have, you can kind of see it here, a restricted group of people that maybe I don't want to seeing, you know, pictures from going out to the bar on a Saturday night. You know, just people that I should be friends with on Facebook because they're either really important sources or coworkers or employers or whatever, because it doesn't want to show it. And then I can, through the account settings that we were just at, I can click custom and then everyone except restricted. So that means everybody on my friends list except for my restricted list can see these various posts. It's not really working for a moment. Oh, here it goes. So, and then you can manage it over here by like adding to or subtracting from and whatnot. So I have people that I've covered events for. This is somebody that I did a feature story on a business opening for, and we live sort of like near each other, so it would have been weird to not friend them because there's that weird like social space. So I just plunk them in the restricted list, and then As you start to get to know people, you can either remove it or specifies it to, is that a word? I don't know.
So basically, you just create it, then you can go through your friends list and just
Yeah.
add them or drag them, and
Yep.
they'll only see things that you choose to post.
Yep, exactly. Yep, and unlike, I have a restricted list, and then I have, which is a custom list, and then I have like a super restricted list, which means you can't see anything but my about. And if this is working, I'll pop over and try to show you the analytics quick, since I'm on the screen. Where is it? Oh, okay. So you see this little thing here that says Insights in your admin panel? You can click See All. So you see total likes, people talking about this, weekly total reach. It shows you in long term and short term what kind of reach you've had with people. This is like the marketing stuff with social media. But it's good to know, and it's good to be comfortable with, so that, like I said before, you know when to post and who's consuming what and whatnot. So,
Do you want to talk at all about like the acquaintances options? How like each individual friend, you can choose if they're a friend, if they're close,
oh
and then
yeah,
you can each individual post can be different.
I
That's
wonder if
kind
there's
of
a way I
new.
can show you that right now without like friend requesting somebody. Trying to think.
I don't know, maybe just do a post, and I think in the corner, like, it's kind of like self-explanatory, because once you add somebody, you get that option to pop up.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah, okay. So I'm letting you all into my personal life right now. So you can do this on your personal page or your regular page. You can type whatever status you have, and then right by post, you can select who sees it. Specific to whatever you're posting. So if you have like a restricted list set up to see nothing that you post ever, but you're posting a really cool news article that you wouldn't mind everybody in the world seeing, you can put only, or you can do custom and public, friends, whatever. You have those control options. It just takes a little bit more work. Is there any questions about this?
Real quick question. I've noticed voice pop up on there now, on pages. What is that? Does anyone else?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be so excited. Yeah, it's the voice that you're using.
Oh, okay.
So if it's your personal voice or your page's voice.
Got it.
And
So
that's
if you
what
want to comment on your own page, but not as administrative as an
Exactly.
individual, okay.
Exactly. And what she's talking about. Let's see if I can find it. Voice. So if you're looking at one of your professional like pages, this little guy will pop up, and it'll show you are posting, commenting, and liking as Belleville View and Ypsilanti Courier change to yourself. So you have that option. So any questions?
So, to the point that you said you use your Facebook page for both professional and personal. The voice is, this is my personal, but you can switch if it's something that you want there for.
Yeah,
professional.
exactly. So it's
Because
just.
she's an administrator on different pages.
Mhm.
So it's a different role. So if she doesn't want to, let's say she's on the Ann Arbor Journal Facebook page, and she doesn't want to post as Ann Arbor Journal, will come with the Ann Arbor Journal logo, and she wants to post it as Krista, that's who she would change over. Because she's an administrator on other pages.
Okay, so this wouldn't be on hers, and this would be.
Yeah, it's just on business pages.
So you had your business page, and you also had your
Right.
personal Facebook.
Mhm.
Right.
You either want to post as yourself or your business, you get to choose.
Right, okay.
You went crazy. Yeah, so is there any questions about privacy or how to use any of these things? I can explain it a little bit more in detail after and take a look at your profile and help you out a little bit. I know some of these things are hard to remember where to navigate and whatnot.
I like to learn how to do the feature where you say you can separate the personal.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. It's really,
I
really
like
helpful.
to utilize that one.
Yeah, it's really helpful. And then just some final notes. Explore both sites for businesses, reporters, nonprofits, community members that you connect with. And really focus on building that larger conversation and being a part of that larger conversation. And like I mentioned before, spend a half an hour as a journalist each day looking for new story ideas and see what other people are doing, see what other journalists are doing. There's something I've been doing on Twitter that I'd actually noticed people at other media sources doing, is I would write the description of my story, do a story link, and put via, and then either the reporter or the reporter's Twitter handle or the paper's Twitter handle, and I've started to see that grow more and more. And I always think that that's a good idea because you're linking back and kind of, like I'd said before, getting more eyeballs on it and joining in on the larger conversation. So yeah, just check out what other people are doing. I mean, this sort of stuff changes all the time. So just take some time and just delve into it.
So looking at all those lists and people that you're following and whatever, a half hour? I mean, it seems like with Twitter, I just threw a little Twitter thing out there just to see what would happen, and I followed like maybe 4 or 5 people, you know, everything from the Mayo Clinic to Anthony Bourdain. And it's like all day long that thing just goes. It just goes and goes.
And it does kind of feel like things get lost in the shuffle. And I think that's why people are a little bit weird about privacy on Twitter, is they don't think about what they're putting on Twitter in the same way that they do Facebook. Because you feel like everything's just moving and getting just shoved down. But it does still exist. The Library of Congress keeps every tweet that's ever been put out there since 2006. So it's there. Everything you've ever done.
Do that just on their computers and it's back out.
Yeah, I guess so. Isn't that creepy? That is creepy. So yeah, I definitely know what you're saying with that. That things can kind of just feel like they get lost. It gets better once you start delving into it more. You know exactly who to look at for news, who's active, who's not active. There's some Twitter accounts and some Facebook pages that just are fairly inactive. So you could check those maybe once a week. There are people who post multiple times a day, so you check those, once a day or something like that. So that's just about getting to know like the habits and posting habits of your followers or your friends. It takes time and a lot of silly work. But the good thing is sometimes Facebook and Twitter doesn't really feel like work. Maybe. Not to me. Are there any questions? Is there any questions online? I've been ignoring that completely.
No, there haven't been.
Great. You can follow me on Twitter, on my personal Twitter, Ipsy Courier's handle, or the Manchester Enterprise. You can get a hold of me through email, or on Facebook through it's called Facebook on there. That's unfortunate. On either of my 2 professional Facebook pages as well. Is there anything?
Okay, I have a question. What about LinkedIn? And that's obviously more for business professionals, etc. But do you guys ever use that for sources, verification? I mean, is LinkedIn in there at all?
It's really more of a resume tool.
I use LinkedIn to verify
Names, probably.
That's some time I've used.
Yeah.
names and titles and such. Like somebody might tell me their title and maybe I'm just worried I didn't get it down right now with my phone.
Yeah, or exactly what business they work for. Who was the guy on the Chelsea City Council that resigned?
Oh, yeah, you work for Domino's.
Yeah, he worked for Domino's. We couldn't remember what he worked for, so we found him on LinkedIn.
I've used it for investigative stuff too, just to see what someone's background is, based on the resume. But I've never used it as like more social media or anything like that.
It's really, from my point of view, more of a resume hosting site. So if it's something that you double check from somebody's resume, like their credentials or correct name spelling or where they went to school, stuff like that, it's a really good source. But not everybody's stuff is public either. A lot of people have their stuff like you have to be connected to them, which is like being a friend to them. You have to be connected to them to access any of their information. So it can be tricky, and it's not really used that widespread at this point. I think there are a lot of things like that, and like maybe like Pinterest that are kind of up and coming, but they're really not, and Google Plus as well. They're not being used enough to it really becoming something incredibly valuable yet. It's like on the cusp, kind of. Maybe I'll have a part 2 when it gets there.
Yeah, from a business marketing perspective, our marketing person said, you gotta get on Pinterest, which I have not done yet. I looked at it and I thought, what? If I wanted to decorate my house, yeah, maybe, but
That's how I feel too,
Yeah.
for my personal one.
and LinkedIn and YouTube did see great, receptivity on YouTube. But I'm just looking at, again, when you say social media,
Mhm.
I'm looking at it more from a business to business or, B2B, or I'm also looking at it from a business to home users, because our product came from being used in the home, and we still want to make sure that that market can see that it's available. So that's why I'm asking about some of these things, Twitter and other things, Facebook. I'm still struggling.
Yeah. Like I said, it takes time to get familiar with where everything is, and once you get familiar, they're gonna change it. And you have to do it all over again. They'll invent some new way to show you information. And then as soon as you get a handle on that, MySpace is dead and then Facebook comes along, right? So,
Is it officially dead yet?
oh, I have no idea. Last I heard AOL used it. Yeah, so it is an ever-changing and ever-evolving sort of thing, and it is one of those things that once you finally feel like you understand, they pull the rug out from underneath you. It's just a matter of when Facebook says, hey, this is what we're going to change. Do you want to learn more? Click learn more. It really helps. You won't be surprised when all of a sudden 6 months later they change your profile to timeline. You'll be prepared for it. So yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, concerns, queries?
I have a question. Okay, often I follow a lot of people on Twitter and news organizations, and I'll see multiple tweets. They're obviously doing it from a site like Hootsuite. And
Yeah.
they're scheduled at the same time, so it's the same tweet for like 2 different reporters. And to me, that can be a little annoying. What's your take on that?
I'm not a big fan of it. I really do understand why somebody who's in charge, like maybe a community engagement editor, would schedule all of those tweets together. If you have your own personal or Twitter, I think you should probably use your own personal Twitter. You shouldn't make your community community engagement editor do that. But it really does. If you use a robot to systematically push out your tweets, it takes away that personal element. And it detracts you from the conversation. So I would avoid it, but I do see why, especially like a news organization would do it.
Right. So do you think it's okay maybe to do it on those particular publications mastheads, using the mastheads like A2 Journal, MC Courier, but then like on personal ones, not have that in the bunch kind of thing?
Yeah, I would steer more towards that, and even if you can schedule the mastheads tweets to be
Just keep it into probably an hour.
separated, especially if it's not breaking news. If it's breaking news, post from everybody's all the time, exactly then. But if it's like a feature story that's just getting pumped out, try to schedule some space in between if you can. And like I said, I know that it can get.
Right. I just wonder how much of your audience is following all of them or some of them. And,
It's a good question, and I'm not really sure what the answer to that is. Like, if they are following all of them, they're like, oh, well, a robot's doing this. But if they aren't, it would probably just kind of go over. But like I said, it really removes you from the conversation as a human being. So I'd kind of steer away from it if I could. Anything else? Jim?
Tina and Lee, did you talk about how to build an audience on these platforms?
I did a little bit. I can give you one of these after this, like a basic guide to Twitter. But what I did when I first started is I just went and looked at all of the reporters that were already working for Heritage and followed the people they were following. And then once you start following people, people will start following you back. I don't get hung up on how many people are following me compared to how many people I am following. It's really not that important. It's like when Facebook first came out and everybody wanted to have the most friends. It really doesn't do anything. And I'd say focus less on how many followers you have and more on how many communications you have between people. Like if you're getting retweets or people tweeting you back, commenting on things. I think that's a lot more important. And then, like I said, just delve through people's lists. I can help you with that too later on if you want. And just look for contacts.
Can you make lists on Twitter?
Yeah. That was the function that I showed you with the politicians.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because that would take care of a lot. Otherwise you just.
Yeah. That really helps cut down on your search time. Like if you're searching, like I said, you're searching for somebody in Manchester, you can click your Manchester link, as opposed to just scrolling through like the 300 people you follow or whatever. So, anything else? All right. Well, I'm in the lab, every day, or every Monday, not every day, every Monday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you need any extra help on this, feel free to stop on in, and I'd be more than happy to help you out. Yeah.
Question, have you done any analytics, because we're all about the data, on, what's better out there, pictures, videos, words, does it matter?
I don't know. Do you have a better answer to this besides I don't know?
Depends on your delivery. I mean, Facebook, I always, 100% of the time, get a better response when you have a great photo. Like, I kind of experiment back and forth where I'll put the photo out there instead of just
Instead of a video?
Instead of a link, like typically we're linking out to stories and stuff. And then if I have a great photo, I'll take the photo and then I'll put the link in the caption. Hey, do you want to read about what's going on in this photo?
And sharing too.
Yeah, and sharing.
Something I noticed today is
You get more exposure on your page.
exactly. One thing I noticed today is usually every Wednesday we upload the PDFs of our front pages to the website for like a front page preview. And before I had been putting them in stories and linking out that story. And I still put it in a story and linked it out on Twitter, but on Facebook, instead I uploaded it to an album. I turned it into a JPEG and uploaded it into an album. And I already saw 2 shares of the Ipsy one last time I checked. So yeah, that turned out to be a successful experiment in my
I was
day.
doing that and then I was linking to that.
It's a good one.
Well, because then
Double
when
take.
they go to the link, they can actually read the front page.
Yeah, because the JPEG's a little bit, it's small.
It's
Mm-hmm.
So, can I ask you, were you better saying that it's better to throw the picture first and then the link to it, instead of just throw up a straight video and say, hey, watch this video and see how many likes you get?
Yeah, especially if you just say watch this video or something like that, because there are so many spams and tricks and stuff, and if you just put a video or something out there, people are kind of getting afraid of that sort of stuff. I think you have to really watch like how you deliver your message. Oh my god, did you see this video? Did you stuff going on? I got one from the Afghanistan village.
His reaction was hilarious.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess it depends on what you're saying and experiment,
Yeah.
really. Because I wouldn't know what works without trying different things out.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about Facebook and Twitter is there's no harm in experimenting and trying to deliver the message in a different way. The worst that's going to happen is that nobody reads it. Like, it's not gonna kill your business, it's not gonna kill your newspaper. So, just play around with it, spend some time on it. Anything else? Okay. Well, like I said, I'm in the lab every day, or every Monday, and you can get a hold of me on all these various different ways. I also have a phone number, but I don't really want to put that online.
I think you gave us enough ways.
Exactly. So yeah, great. Thank you.